Yo,
What's going on, brother?
what's up, man?
Sal Roses in the house.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Been a minute, man. Been a minute. I think been a couple weeks.
Yeah,
What's
yeah, we
good, man?
we've been busy, man. I know recently you say you're playing soccer now, so that's good. That's good for you. Good to get out there and get back to just being healthy, playing some sports outdoors.
Yeah, so that's soccer is like my first love, man. I've played soccer since I was 5 years old, and anytime I go too long without playing it, my head goes kind of all over the place. So recently, I've been invited on Thursdays to get out there on the field again. So I'm loving it, man. It's like I feel like a kid again. It's fun. So
Yeah,
and
yeah,
at this point I'm just having fun. So it's different than like when you're competing like that. So
I'm with you. Soccer was my first sport as well in Guatemala. That's all we had really, and
yeah.
I grew up being part of teams and getting awards and all of that stuff. So Uh, when I got to the US, that's when I started playing ball though, and I got away from soccer a little bit.
Yeah, you should play, man. You should come play.
I should actually get some sweat going because right now I just been running in the backyard and doing a bunch of pull-ups and push-ups and sit-ups, just keeping it kind of like prison style workout.
No, so I'll tell you. Last Thursday, I played for the first time in a long time, like over a year, and played for like 3 hours, man. Just
Wow.
like a kid, just like a kid, like
Are you
7 to like 10:30.
legs sore the next day?
Dude, I've been sore for like I was sore for like a week. Said I thought I was fit, because I run, I go biking, things like that, but it's a different workout. So
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, that's good, bro. Happy for you. I know as long as everybody's staying safe, it's important, like you said, mentally to also get the exercise in and get outdoors. So that's good. Uh,
yeah, so we got a lot to talk about, man. There's so much. I don't even know where to start. I kind of want to, let's start with a recap from last night, I guess. I don't know if you mind.
yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Last night was a good game actually. I enjoyed it because it was challenging. Even though the Lakers didn't win, it seemed like they were trying. They were very close, and they didn't have. Think about all the players they didn't have: LeBron James, AD, Marcus All, Caruso. Like they just didn't play at all, right? So the fact that the Lakers were able to still compete and have a fun game and be really close to get the win. I thought that was important. It was a good game because of the challenge. They kept going back and forth, so I enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, I agree. I think three players stood out. Trez, Kuz, and Schroeder.
Yep.
I think those three were like, man, if we could get those three, to kind of step up. I know they get overshadowed by LeBron and AD, but if we could get those three guys to show up, or at least two of those on a nightly basis, we're good. Even without AD, because we know we're kind of our timetable for AD is kind of questionable right now. So, which is another thing, that we want to talk about. But yeah, last night, it was good. The Kings looked good too, actually. The Kings looked really good, which was surprising.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because I know they had not been doing good, so they were really making it a point to come out and get a W, knowing that the Lakers were weak in a sense, right? So they wanted to come out and stand out, and they did, right? Like they put on a show. I mean, it went down to the wire. So they also offensively were able to just put on a bunch of points and threes. Even though there was one three that shouldn't have counted as a three, but we'll
yeah.
move on from that.
Hey man. Hey, and then Kuz's last shot, man. That looked good.
Everybody was like, "That looks so good." Ah, it's just short.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that was fun, man. I'm glad they did that. Going forward, LeBron, the ankle. I don't mind if he takes games off like that. To be honest, right now,
yeah.
I almost like encourage it, and I would like to see even without AD. I'd like to see these guys just kind of play without those two
Hmm.
to see what we learn. So I wouldn't mind that. Especially if LeBron's getting some rest, man. He's been carrying a big load.
Yeah,
You can tell.
LeBron has been playing a lot of minutes, and we know that in the playoffs is where we want him to be the best. We want him to be the healthiest. So the regular season is important to get that home court advantage. But then if we think about, okay, COVID is still around, so is home court advantage really that important at this point in this year? At least it might not be as important. And so if that means the Lakers can sacrifice a few games to keep their players healthy so that when the postseason comes around they have a better chance of winning. I think that makes sense to me. And as we saw yesterday, the guys that they have are still able to put up a fight without the main two, AD and LeBron. So I think if we're thinking long term and trying to get that championship this year as well, back to back, then as a fan, I don't mind it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. So I'm for that going forward. Cool. Anything else on last night's game?
On last night's game, nah, it was just I enjoyed it. Like I said, obviously now we're down two losses in a row, right? They lost yesterday, and then the day before or the game before that they had lost against the Phoenix Suns. And then previous they had won two in a row. So they won two in a row, lost two in a row. So I think, coming off that loss, obviously we wanted to see another win with the Kings, but I actually didn't. I wasn't expecting LeBron to miss that game. I was surprised when I started watching the game, and I was like, "Oh damn, I didn't even hear that he wasn't playing." Um, but but yeah, as far as last night's game, I thought it was a good game.
Yeah, so the Lakers came off of four losses, and then came back, bounced back. It seems like it seemed like Schroeder came back in the lineup, right? And then they
Yeah.
just kind of bounced back, and it was like Schroeder was the missing piece to everything, and then they lost to the Suns. Kind of moving off or moving into those four losses. Would you think? Number one, I guess I wanted to ask on what you thought about the Nets game, because that was kind of the first of those four losses that the Lakers had. What'd you think about that game?
Yeah. Well, it was a good game. I think it's a little bit we got to keep it short term, right? Because it's hard to picture how it's going to look in the playoffs when once the KD is in, once AD, all the teams are healthy, right? But as far as just like that game, I guess, um, I mean the Lakers, to me, they didn't look very good compared to them. I don't know, for some reason the Nets looked a little bit more organized that day for me.
Yeah, so my kind of take on that game was the Nets just looked like a better team
Hmm.
on that night, and it wasn't a lack of effort on the Lakers. It looked like the Lakers were trying and like battling, trying to find ways to make it happen, but it felt like the Nets were always able to keep a lid on the Lakers, both offensively and the Lakers defense seemed like it was no match. Kyrie was going crazy.
Hmm.
So um, definitely something to I guess take a look at. I'm not sure if do we have them again later on.
That might
Uh,
be the only game this season.
yeah, I think that. Oh no. Okay, so we
Oh
have them
yeah,
again on April 10th. We have them
yeah.
again on April 10th. So I'm hoping that we get to see a full lineup on both sides on that game. But it was kind of like, do we need a trade? I'm not saying we do. I'm not saying we do because I like our team. But it was, you could tell that the Nets, if they come to play, which on some nights it seems like they don't, if they come to play, they're pretty scary.
Yeah, and I feel like I read something about that game, and looking at the stats now, it kind of confirms that Harold didn't play that many minutes that game for some reason. So he only played 15 minutes in total, and Mark Gasol had 20 minutes. So I think that's a interesting just thing to notice stat wise, because especially with a team like the Nets. I feel like Montrezl Harrell is a lot quicker than Gasol
Right.
defensively, and offensively, we know that he hustles for offensive rebounds and dunks and all that. Except yesterday, he missed that last layup. Uh,
Yeah, man. But who
but
everybody missed that.
yeah, but I just remember listening to that when the Nets during the Nets game where Harold didn't get as many minutes, and so I thought that was interesting. Where if he would have had more minutes, maybe he could have impacted the game a little bit differently. Um, but I think the Nets in general, they've been picking it up. I feel like they've been getting more familiar, building the chemistry with each other, and they've been on a roll, right? I think you mentioned the last time where Harden had just kind of taken over as like the main dude, right? It's kind of like his
Hmm.
team, so he kind of controls the ball most of the time, and I think that's helping them. KD and Irvin being able to just kind of hand it off and let him kind of manage the game has been working for them.
Yeah, and they look like they just kind of take turns, you know.
Yeah.
For the most part, James Harden goes, but they just take turns kind of going at you. Um, I was really interested in the Schroeder versus Kyrie matchup. We didn't get to see that.
Hmm.
And then that game after I didn't get to see the that matchup. I was really excited to see what Caruso could do, but he got cooked, man. He got cooked. So it was interesting, and the Lakers were throwing people at Kyrie, but he was just hot because I think that's the one matchup where we have to kind of like slow him down because I think James Harden, and LeBron will kind of or Kevin Durant and LeBron will kind of slow each other down. They're not going to have an answer for Anthony Davis, so we'll have an advantage there. But then what are we going if we're able to contain Kyrie, or find an answer, make it tough for Kyrie? I think that then we'll be okay because it's one less guy we need to worry about.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think that's where somebody, obviously Schroeder would be good for that, but then also having other guys helping like THT coming off the bench and Caruso coming off the bench and just providing just more energy on the defensive end, right? Because I do feel like in a way we depend on Schroeder to be like the third offensive guy. Like the two games that the Lakers won recently, I felt like it was because Schroeder came in and provided the offense that they were missing from Anthony Davis,
Mhm.
and he does that with his quickness, right, with his energy. So I feel like that if he's focusing on offense like that, that might take away from him focusing on defense, and that's where the other guys have to come in and help out,
Right.
especially with somebody like Irving. When LeBron and AD are busy guarding the other guys.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. If Schroeder's gonna be stepping up offensively, some of the other guys are gonna have to step up this pick up the slack defensively. That's a
Yeah.
good point.
One thing that I've been noticing too is KCP. Man, I don't know what's going on with him, but I feel like he's underperforming a lot, at least just in my eyes. I don't know why. Um, I almost don't even know why he's still starting. I feel like Kuzma can take his place, or even THT can take his place. But last game he actually didn't do too bad. He had 10 points, but I don't know. I don't know if you notice it or what your thoughts are on that.
And that's the thing about KCP. He's kind of one of those guys where we kind of also a lot of the attention goes to Kuzma when he doesn't perform, but KCP is there too. KCP is he flies so under the radar that we don't really know what his expectations are. Sometimes, like to me, if he's scoring 12 points a game, that's where he should be. So last night he scored was it
10.
10 points, right? That was 10 points last night. I think he's good there, but still, um, in the playoffs last year, he just showed a different level. So can we see that?
Hmm.
How much of that can we see that maybe not every night, but can we see it pretty often? So it's kind of a reminder to us and to other teams that this guy is somebody to recognize. But yeah, I think he does fly under the radar, and he does get a pass when he doesn't play well. So it's definitely something that I'll keep an eye on going forward. Also,
Because just looking at the stats, for example, his points right now, he's averaging 8.7 points, and last season he had 9.3 points. Assist, he's got 1.4. Last season he had 1.6. Total rebounds, he's got 2.4. So I guess I'm looking at it from the overall perspective of like, if he's not scoring, he's also not providing anything else. You know what I
hmm
mean? Like Kuzma, one thing that I've noticed with him is that when he's not scoring, at least he's getting rebounds. I don't know if you've seen that, but he's been almost like getting double doubles almost every game.
offensively as well, like he is crashing the offensive board
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
crazy. Put back dunks, just boards all over. He seems to have kind of figured out that okay, these guys are gonna forget about me. I'm gonna go crash the board.
Yeah.
Kind of, and he has that switch, which is a lot of players. Lamar Odom used to do that really well. He
Yeah.
used to go in there. They would forget about him. They'd be thinking about Kobe and Pau Gasol. Lamar Odom would just be like sneak in, get
Yeah.
an offensive board at like the most timely moments as well. So Kuzma has been doing really good at that.
Yeah.
And I'm actually really proud of Kuzma's year so far.
Yeah. I agree.
Because I think just his attitude has been really good. Whereas last year it was kind of like we didn't know what's going on with this kid. But this year his attitude seemed very free, really good. He stepped up in big moments, and he's for the most part played pretty well. Although the last couple games he's been kind of prior to last night's game, I think last night he played pretty well.
He did great last night. He had 25 points, 13 rebounds. But what I was gonna say is that uh, just to like notice his role in the team and how it's grown, they gave him the last shot last game, right? Like that's huge. Right?
Right.
The play was planned out. They drew up the play for him to take that last shot. So that's huge to recognize that he's got that potential or that mentality to be okay with taking that last shot, right?
And he was hot. He was hot.
Yeah.
And looking at last night's stats as well, 25 points, 28 for Schroeder, and 26
Harrell.
for Trez.
Yeah.
So I mean, listen, we know these guys can put it up. Then we know these guys can do it.
And
Uh, but Kuzma, I will say this though. Sometimes when he's kind of the highlight of the offense, and it happened also where when AD first went out, I think they gave Kuzma a bigger role. It was kind of like everybody has to step up, but everybody kind of knew Kuzma's the one that's gonna have to fill in those points. Um, he's played well, but a lot of times it's come in losses, just like last night.
Mhm.
A lot of points, but in a loss.
Yeah.
So I think it's also a mentality thing at that point. Like, okay, I'm playing well, but I can't just be satisfied with getting my points and playing well. I have to be really, really upset if I play well and score a lot of points in a loss.
Yeah.
So if and this is I'm always going at Kuzma. I'm always going at Kuzma because I believe in him that much. If he's able to crack that, then he's next level.
Yeah.
Then he is that third option, that legitimate third option, just wanting to do well, but in a win,
Yeah.
So
I agree.
I don't know if you've noticed that he always plays well in a loss.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, no, I did see that. And going back to your comment about his offensive rebounding, I
mhm,
think Harold has helped them in that because we know Harold does that all the time. But I feel like them being the same team and working out with each other and talking to each other and seeing each other's game in practice, I feel like that's given Kuzma a different perspective, right? Like, okay, Harold's doing it. Why can't I do it, right? When everybody's looking at the ball, let me just go crash the board.
mhm,
So I feel like that's been helpful for Kuzma, right? Because Harold's a veteran and Kuzma's still what in his fourth year, I think. So
right.
he's still, learning. So I think that's been able to help him out. Um, and then going back to his role, I noticed. So he had the last play, he had the last shot, which was great. But then, even before that, like there was maybe like 5 minutes in the fourth quarter, and the Lakers got the rebound. They pushed the ball, and then Schroeder, was dribbling, and Kuzma was calling out the play. He was telling everybody, "Okay, go to the corner, go to the corner." And they looked a little bit
Yeah,
discombobulated, a little bit
yeah.
confused, but they got the play that he was calling. Everybody got their role. Kuzma got a good shot. He missed it, but I thought that was interesting. That again, he took on that responsibility to be kind of like the captain, the leader out there, and calling out the play. Like, sure, he missed a shot, but at least they executed on a play. And I feel like they're not just randomly trying to do pick and rolls and seeing what happens. They actually had a plan and they executed it.
Right, and it feels like it's like when you let the little kid drive the car, so it almost had that feeling, Uh,
Yeah.
and he was even like he was smiling after the game when he missed that shot because I think he thought it was good,
Yeah.
So again, man, oh man, I want him to like take that step and like grow up,
Yeah.
But I'm happy with where he's at.
Yeah, man, for sure. And so I know you got to leave soon, so let's talk about the last the next few games, and then we'll be good. So this was the Lakers' last game until after the All-Star break. So next game is on March 12th against the Pacers, and the Pacers, I believe they're doing pretty good too. What are they? Let me see the standings.
Pacers look like they are in ninth place, but
Ninth place, yeah. So they won. They just got one win. But their center, Sabonis. I like him. He's a dope player.
he's a good player.
Um,
Then they
but
got from there. I think the Lakers got to go on a 7-game win streak up until they see the Sixers, man.
yeah,
To be honest, I feel like they got to come out the gate hot. They got to come out the gate hot.
yeah, and they obviously they can if they're healthy. If LeBron is playing, and Schroeder, even if AD is out, I feel like they'll still have a chance every game, right? Even against the Suns, they had a chance. They just couldn't get the last win there. Um, but yeah, so the Lakers are in fourth place right now in the standings in the Western Conference, and they're pretty much tied with the Clippers. So they're getting pushed down a little bit more. They're four. What
Four
are
games
they?
behind.
For 3.5 games behind the Jazz, and they are 2.5 games ahead of the Trailblazers, who are in fifth. So they're in a good spot still. They have a long way to go to move up to first, and a long way to go to move under the Trailblazers. So they're in a good spot to be in the top four still.
Yeah, which is I think for this Lakers team, I don't think home court matters too much. I think they can win on the road. In fact, they've been playing better on the road, right? This season,
Mm-hmm.
they had that
The streak.
huge streak for a while, like historic streak. So I
Yeah.
don't mind anywhere 1 through 4. Lakers are good. I wouldn't even stress too much trying to get the top seed. I think they're still the favorites regardless. Um, Before I let you go though, I wanted to get your take, just a quick take on the All-Star game because All-Star game's this weekend.
Yeah. Uh,
What you have you got a chance to take a look at the starters or the games?
I didn't. I know that I saw a video popped up for me to watch Kevin Durant and LeBron James. I think they were picking their team, their players.
Yeah.
But I didn't get a chance to see that. Let me
So
see
let me recap the kind of the draft and how it went.
for sure.
And this is the first round, right? So Team LeBron went first, and he went with Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Mm.
And then Kevin Durant went second, and he went with Kyrie Irving.
Oh,
Interesting,
damn.
interesting pick. Oh man, and then Team LeBron went third, and he went with Steph Curry.
Yeah.
And then Durant went next, and he went with Joel Embiid. So I'm kind of like,
Huh.
Oh man, James Harden is still out there at this point. You know, LeBron goes next, doesn't go with James Harden. He goes with Luka Doncic. Okay. And then Durant goes with Kawhi Leonard. So, that's very, very, good pick. Still, James Harden is out there, Pick 7, LeBron goes with Jokic, the Joker, Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
Oh man, LeBron's kind of like forming a team. So far, he's got LeBron, Giannis, Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, and Nikola Jokic. So it's like
Shit.
kind of a weird team, But man, I'm putting the ball in Luka's hand, to be honest.
But he's stacked. Like, so if you so think about this. Who are your top 4 players to win an MVP this season?
Yeah.
Right? For who would you pick as your top 4 right now?
Man, right now I think it's pretty wide open, man. I think
Really?
Giannis it should be up there, even though I don't think he's getting the attention. But LeBron, I might even say
Yeah.
I think LeBron is just based on kind of how old he is. This is how deep he is in his career to still be doing it. I think he deserves to be up there. And then yeah, that's about it, to be honest, for me. And Jokic, obviously, who's having a really good season, and they're at the top of the standings. So
Yeah.
uh,
So I my 4 would be I would have probably Jokic as number 1 right now. Number 2, I'd probably put LeBron. Number 3, Giannis, and number 4 would be Luka. Those would be my top 4. So it's interesting that LeBron has them on his team.
yeah, the only thing with Luca, I mean, I've seen some games where he just kind of like doesn't look engaged,
Okay, gotcha.
But I mean, he's one of my favorite players, to be honest. He might be my next favorite player outside of outside of the Lakers. I think he's just the way he plays. He's just, I love how he plays.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, number 7, Nikola Jokic, and then number 8, Durant had Bradley Beal, and then
damn.
number 9, he went with Jason Tatum, and then number 10, Durant. That's when James Harden went. So James Harden finally went with pick number 10 for Durant. Number 11 went with Team LeBron with Damian Lillard. 12 went to Durant with Devin Booker. 13, Ben Simmons for LeBron. 14, Zion for Durant. 15, Chris Paul for LeBron. 15, Zach LaVine for Durant. 17, Jaylen Brown. 18, Julius Randle.
I like that.
Julius Randle for Durant. 19, Paul George for LeBron. 20, Vucevic for Durant. 21, Sabonis for LeBron. 22, Donovan Mitchell for Durant, and 23, Rudy Gobert for LeBron. So
Damn. Interesting, dude. So James Harden didn't go until number 10. That is crazy.
yeah, man, Durant could have just gone like Kyrie his first pick, and then Harden his second pick. I'm almost like, what conversations do you have? Dan, you didn't pick me first,
I know. I thought we were boys.
Uh, Kyrie would have got his feelings hurt, man. So
You would have taken another month off to think about what's going on in his life.
so Durant's probably, had to, show his homie some love right there.
For real. Yeah, he did, right? He had to pick him first. That's funny.
Uh,
But I'm excited, I think it should be fun to watch all these guys play. I know there was some complaints from them about, this game shouldn't even be played because of COVID, but I mean, if they're being safe about it, I I think they can still go out there and just, have a fun game. Like it doesn't have to be a competitive game. That way nobody gets hurt, but just, you know what I mean? Just have an all-star game.
yeah, no, I agree, and it's all fun. It is kind of weird to have it, to be honest, while we're doing this, but I think they're trying to kind of get some momentum towards normal. So I think it's a good move by the NBA.
Yeah, because like another thing that I think about is if they don't want to have the All-Star game, why are they even playing the NBA season? You know what I mean? Like it's all for entertainment purposes. You're right.
Right.
The first game you played in the season was to entertain, and at the end of it all, you're gonna win a championship. But it's all for entertainment. You're playing basketball, right? Like it's a game that's supposed to be about fun and just skill, talent, and these are the most talented NBA players right now, and they're getting together and having an All-Star game. So from that perspective, I was just like, well, if you guys decided to play the season, might as well play an All-Star game. But again, with obviously everybody being careful, right, and taking precautions and all that.
Right. No, that's a good point. Um, quick minute before we get out of here. Kobe section. Kobe moment. Kobe on the new logo. What are your thoughts?
I love it. I think it makes sense because Jerry West, as much as I know he was very skilled, very powerful in his day and age, I don't think I don't think I have a connection with him, and so I think if he gets updated, that's only going to bring in more people to watch the NBA because of the story. Like just that whole idea of like, oh shit, Kobe's in the logo now. Let me see what's going on with the NBA. Like people that haven't been watching basketball, they'll be like, oh, let me watch it again. Let's see what's going on.
Yeah, no, I agree. My take is the Lakers are the NBA, man. The Lakers are the NBA. Put a Laker on the damn logo. Always gonna be a Laker.
That'd be dope, man. And it's gonna be him with the fadeaway.
Yeah, or I don't think they chose which one, but with fadeaway, either one.
The Kobe, right? Like whenever you say Kobe, that's the
Yeah,
logo now.
yeah, yeah. That'll
Uh,
be
but
crazy.
but yeah, that'd be dope, man. That'd be dope if they do make that change.
All right. So going forward, I may be doing soccer on Thursdays. So if your availability is open on Wednesdays, we should do that.
Let's do it, bro. Yeah, definitely. I'm very flexible right now, so let's definitely switch it up. That way, it's convenient for both of us.
Mhm. All right, man. Well, I'm glad we got to chat again. I know we had a lot to talk about. So it was moving. It was moving. I liked it. Um, I'll be in New Orleans this weekend.
Okay, dope.
Making a quick trip out there. Gonna eat some fried oysters.
Yeah.
So I'll see you next week, though.
Yes, sir. Stay safe, man. Have fun playing soccer, and I'll definitely see you next week.
All right, brother.
All right, brother. Peace
Thank
out.
you, everybody.